So, tonight on our game, we killed on accident one of our characters. In my Islands of Thakos game, which you can see over on Twitch every Friday night, except for holiday weekends, and later on posted here on YouTube, you will see in episode 2, I killed our cleric. So unlike when my wife's character died a month ago in Descent into Avernus, which I think she rolled a critical fail too. It's funny, both characters rolled nat 1s for their second and third death saves, and so they died. But the difference is in the Descent into Avernus game, the character put themselves in a position where they were surrounded by multiple enemies at first level. In this situation, the cleric did not do that. And the party really suffered from just really poor rolling. We have a barbarian, a cleric, a druid, and a wizard. And pretty much everybody was rolling 3s on the die throughout all of combat. They were fighting 8 kobolds. First round, they put 3 of them to sleep. So you had 5 kobolds left. Now 2 of which are flying. So 5 kobolds for 4 party members. It wasn't until the 3rd or 4th round before any of the kobolds were hurt. And obviously they were hurting. And I forgot about pack tactics. Every single time I forgot to do pack tactics. So the players probably, it should have probably been a TPK. Now this brings me to the worst aspect of Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. That's right. The thing that I think is the worst mechanic or the rule in Dungeons and Dragons. And it's death saves. I've talked about this before, and I've got a solution for it, and I've talked about my solution for it before. So I did not put this house rule into effect in this campaign. I think moving forward I'm going to. But if you're making death saves, you are literally rolling a d20 and hoping that it's a positive number. It's above a 10. And that's it. That's your turn. So you wait 5 to 10 minutes. It gets back to your turn. You roll the death save. This happened to our cleric. He got to do 1 cantrip, which he missed, and then he was making death saves the rest of the night. That is not fun. Especially if you have to drive, say, and this is luckily online, but if this was a game where that player had to drive 30 minutes to my house and that's how they spent the session, that wouldn't have been fun. That would have sucked. It would have been a waste of gas money. And I would have felt really bad for him. I mean, I feel bad anyway, but at the same time, I take a little bit of enjoyment out of killing characters. I can't help it. I can't shake the mindset. If I'm rolling dice, I want to roll high. It's just how I am. So I get excited when I see high dice rolls. I'm not adversarial. I don't try to stack the odds against my players. I don't try to kill my players necessarily. But when it happens, I kind of get a little bit of enjoyment out of it. And then I feel bad. But for a minute, I get some enjoyment. I'm like, yes. And then I'm like, oh, shoot. So I do side with the players on a lot, but which I did in this game, too. I let them swing the dead corpse of their party member to hit 4 enemies at once. And it ended up being probably the only reason they survived, to be honest. But anyways, so death saves. My solution is what I call Blaze of Glory or going down swinging or however, whatever you want to call it. But the idea is when your character's hit points are dropped to 0, you're making death saves at the start of your turn. But you get to attack on every turn until your character fails all their death saves. If they fail all 3, they're dropped. If they succeed on all 3, they can finish the combat before they collapse, and then they're down for 1d4 hours. So that's my own D&D house rule for the worst mechanic in 5th edition, in my opinion. So what do you think is the worst mechanic? Do you agree death saves suck? Or do you think death saves are a fun aspect to the game? If they're fun, why do you think they're fun? Because I don't think they create tension. I think I saw somebody do a video about DMs doing the death saves, and so the players never know if they're up or not. I kind of like that idea. It might be something I do with this house rule as well, where Maybe I, the DM, roll the death saves, and you're going out in your blaze of glory or going down swinging. That might be kind of fun. And, you know, that might interest a lot of people. I don't know. What do you think? I think you need to keep the action going. You don't penalize the group for a player dropping. Like, it seems like, for me, a more cinematic way to play. There's a lot of good RP that can happen, especially if they are dead. Like, let them roleplay their last breaths. Like, hey, you're beyond magical healing. Like, you could say that at the end of combat. Yeah, you drop. You're beyond the return of magical healing. However, if there's anything you want to say with your last dying breaths, feel free. You know, that could be a nice narrative moment. You could let them go out literally swinging. Excuse me. You could say, hey, this is the start of your turn. You are dead. However, you get one last attack. Go out, you know, as heroic as you can think of, and let your player do their thing. That would be an awesome way to do death saves and to create possibly a narrative, fun experience, allowing a character to die in a fun way, rather than just, yep, you failed your death save, you're dead. But that was a fun 4 rounds of you rolling death saves. So, yeah, do you think this house rule is kind of a good one? Do you think that it makes sense? I feel like it's kind of in line with how 5th edition is intended. It's intended to be a fun, fast-paced, heroic game with lots of over-the-top stuff. And I think this can definitely add to that feel, that experience. It can make it a lot of fun for your players. Hell, if all your players die except for one, this is a really cool way that one character still lives, because the other party members are still standing even though they're dead, basically. You know, so there's a lot of ways you could do it. And when the player drops after their final death save, it's completely up to the DM. You might let them finish out combat. Or, like I said, you might say, hey, just so you know, you failed your last death save, this is your last attack, and then you are dead. You know, do what you want, have some fun, narrate it. Also, if you want to say something, you know, your last final breaths, you got like 3 seconds to say what you want after your attack. Boom. You know? So yeah, I don't know. I'm always just looking for ways to make my games more fun and to give you guys ideas to make your games more fun. I think this is a good way. But I'd love to hear what you think. Do you think this is a fun idea? Is this something maybe you're going to try? I'd love to hear it in the comments below. This was Master the Game. I am Juice. Be sure to hammer that like button, smash that subscribe button if this is your first time here, and I will see you guys next time. Game on.